everybody. I am Alexandra. And Cindy here. We are here to talk about a hot topic. Let me introduce myself. I am Alexandra. I'm the founder of LOVJOY Pilates. I created an app so you can have Pilates in your pocket. But our main focus of discussion today is gut and pelvic health. And we are so excited because we created this program for you guys who need some help resetting whatever is blocked, whatever is not working, all these dysfunctions with some amazing nutrition help from Cindy and some exercises from me. So just before we start, just so you know, today is Black Friday and it's the last day that we offer this program for 50% off. This is like crazy. This program is for life, for lifetime. You can reset and come back and default how many times you need. This is all yours for life. And of course, we're going to keep upgrading and renewing the material as we learn new things. So it's a great value, you guys. So we're going to discuss about what is not talked enough. So what is that? Things that are not normal in our pelvic health for us women 40 plus. So anything that is not talked about down there, we're gonna bring it up today. And Cindy is gonna explain why gut health plays such a critical role in our pelvic health as well. So the two go together. That's why we have this unique program for you guys. Let's dive into what our pelvic health is trying to tell you, okay? So there's some myth busting scenarios, okay? So when you are licking, when you're laughing and you have, sneezing fits and you exercising and you experience some leakage, even some pain during intimacy or constant bloating and pressure in your pelvis. These are not just part of aging, okay? It's not normal. There are signs that your pelvic floor needs help, right? So we don't just like pretend it's not there. We don't talk about it. We bring it up to our attention and we help our body function fully and giving you the quality of life that you guys deserve. These stuff are not normal. Okay, so let's go into the common stuff. There is also lots of statistics to talk about. We know for a fact that 1 in 3 women experience some kind of pelvic dysfunction, especially women over 40. And that's why we're here. Incontinence, what does that mean? Is when you're having little accidents and your urine and your bladder is not fully controlled by the muscles of the pelvic floor. And this could be a signal that your pelvic floor is weak and your muscles need strengthening. They need some exercises, and it is treatable with exercises, which we have provided in our program. Other dysfunctions is pelvic floor pain or pressure. So this can be organ prolapse or some kind of muscle tightness. We're going through this in our, is it module 5, where we talk about relaxation and being aware with the breath, how we can relax this muscle. So the tightness is blocking your muscles from working fully. So let's say you think like, if I keep tight and I'm tensing the whole day, my muscles down there are going to be strong. But in fact, this is false. Okay, so let me debug this right now. So say you wake up in the morning and you're saying, I'm going to hold my fist tight for the whole day. Like you really all day, you're like tensing because you want your hand to be strong, right? What happens maybe half of the day, or maybe at the end of the day, you're still holding your fist. You realize that, oh my gosh, I can no longer hold this tight anymore. My fingers not only are stuck and loose, I can't even hold a knife to put butter on my toast. So these muscles now are dysfunctioning. They're not strong. So if you are thinking that if I keep tensing, my muscles are going to be strong, in fact, you are making them weaker every day. So the fact of squeezing and releasing, contracting and relaxing is critical, you guys. There is a fine balance between tensing to be strong or tensing because you're scared, which makes your muscles weak. Okay, this is affecting also childbirth. This is affecting like things like constipation. A lot of things are related with that tension. Is stress related as well. And then, like I already mentioned, constipation is not just a gut issue. It's like you weakening your muscles by tensing down there, and you cause also prolapse because by tensing, then you're pushing, you're not able to go do your number two, and then you're pushing your organs. So this is extremely important that we need to address, and we can help you with that. I use Pilates is the method for building your core. So your core and your pelvic floor is connected, and that's basically why for me is like autopilot. The way I breathe, the way I contract these muscles, the way I relax before I do the exercise, all these things, they need to be taught properly as a beginner level, or even if you are experienced athlete and you wonder why, what you're doing wrong, why your pelvic floor needs help. There is stuff you need to go from the beginning before you engage, before you start to connect with your body to exercise. So we talk about that. So we go through not just Kegels, because everybody thinks all it is Kegels. No, there's exercises, things like bridge and diaphragmatic breathing, which we go through it. And currently, oh my God, there's studies that show that pelvic exercises reduce prolapse symptoms by up to 70%. Mind blowing. So I hope this kind of help you a little bit, because we're going to transition into Cindy's part. And the kicker is that gut health and pelvic health are deeply connected. And this is where Cindy, our amazing nutritionist, is going to share and come into explaining why. Why is there that deep connection that can transform your pelvic health?
Yes, of course, there's a connection between how your gut is. If it's inflamed, there's going to be more pressure in the pelvic floor. If you're constipated, which you just talked about, then you're straining your muscles. You're going to provide a lot more pressure and strain. So that's not great for the muscles there, especially if they're already weak. So you want to make sure that your gut health is, you know, optimal and there's not that extra pressure like bloating, belly fat, inflammation. And when you're inflamed, it's also very uncomfortable. It could even worsen symptoms such as endometriosis and pelvic pain because of the bloat. A lot of times the bloating could be caused by microbes, microbes that cause fermentation and methane gas. So there are some antimicrobials that you can take, but at the same time, you can also look at food sensitivity. So if you're sensitive to certain foods, you can get a reaction and that can cause inflammation in the gut as well. I was so surprised that you mentioned 70% of people who have these issues could also get better with prolapse symptoms, and that's fantastic. That's great news.
Yes.
So with yeah, lowering in the bloat, we're talking about looking at sensitive foods. And most people, when you drink alcohol, that is inflammatory. Sugar is inflammatory. But if you have food sensitivities, there's food tests out there that can show what levels of sensitivities, like it's an immune response. So, I mean, if you're sensitive to certain nuts or fruits or eggs, certain proteins, gluten is a big one that could cause inflammation in the gut and could cause pain and bloating in that area. And even if you get diarrhea as part of that, it's going to also cause that inflammation response, right? Because it's uncomfortable. So, what are some of those remedies is really to remove the inflammatory foods and then introduce probiotics, to rebalance the gut bacteria, introduce a lot more fiber, to prevent constipation, really hydrate well. And we cover that in our course. I think module 3 is on hydration, module 4 is on fermented foods, where we do daily practices of introducing different types of bacteria, which is healthy for our gut because you want variety.
Hmm.
The best thing is to get good variety of bacteria that helps you adapt to the environment. And they've done studies on tribes when they have the tribal, you know, uh, tribal people. They look at them and they have a strong immune system. They don't have all of this sensitivity, and they have a diverse gut microbiome compared to us. We have very
And they squat to poo and pee because they don't have this high toilet seats, right? That's why their gut is healthy as well.
Yes, talk about that. Talk about squatting, because this is something I actually ended up buying. a stool so that you could put your feet on it so you can
Yeah.
have like a squatting. That angle is very important, right?
45 degrees. Yeah, you need basically anything when you're sitting to go number two. If your knees are lower than your hips or almost the same height, it's blocking the muscles that help release number two. So when your knees come higher than your hips or almost like your thighs could be touching your stomach and your lower abs, then you creating that perfect condition. It's almost like more than 45 degrees. It's a perfect condition for release, like with no any constraint or discomfort. And like you mentioned, this population, like in India or the tribes, they don't need, they just squat, they just have a hole on the ground and they go for it. And that was my school back in the day when I was like 100 years ago. But yeah, it
That
was
was your school?
the school had
That's
holes in the floor, but you can, behind in Greece, right?
oh,
Like,
right. Well, in China, it was like that too. And I went to
yeah,
China. Well, now they probably added more toilet seats, but we had to squat in certain areas.
and you don't miss from your class. You go, miss, I need to go, you squat, you go, and you come back. You don't miss your lesson. You don't stay there
Because
going,
it's quick.
it's like,
Well, I also think for children it must be so much worse because they're so much shorter. And I know for young toddlers we often will put a stool there, but as they get a little older, maybe in their teenage years, but early teenage years, they tend not to use the little stool anymore, but they're still short. And there's a lot of kids there that are
totally
constipated. They don't
dangling.
want, on top of it, they don't want to go in public washrooms. They're embarrassed, so that they hold it in. And then when they get home, they can spend half an hour in the washroom. They're having trouble because they don't have the right angle.
It's
On
the
top of it, they're not drinking enough water, not getting enough fiber. So it's just like this whole dynamic, this whole, I guess storm, that
yeah.
creates future issues with their gut.
Yeah, the squatty potty is the way. These guys are it was a revolutionary invention. But you don't need the actual squatty potty, but you can any stool, like you said, you can just lift your knees a little higher and you're there. So yeah, that is heaven for your pelvic floor if you can have one. And these days people take their phone and they go in there for hours. Please don't do that. It really damages your pelvic floor muscles. It's not ideal. It's really bad habit. So yeah, I went there. I went there.
Yeah, it's all intertwined, right? Like
Yeah.
taking care of your gut health and then the muscles that support that whole abdomen. As we age, as we get more stress with life, which is not something we are used to, like way back 100 years ago, life was a lot simpler. But now with stress and less sleep, it does something to the digestive system. You get with stress, as we know, it's a fight or flight response. You get less digestive enzymes being produced, less stomach acid being produced. So I really highly recommend digestive enzymes for those people who are having bloating. Antimicrobials is one thing, is to kill off the unwanted bacteria. Because think about it, if you're not digesting the food, bacteria starts to ferment it. So you want to do the antimicrobial and at the same time add some more digestive enzymes to really strengthen how you digest and break down those foods. So you're working on both ends. And then with fiber and hydration, you're able to go regularly, which is so important, like to get
Yeah.
rid of toxins. If you don't go regularly, that the matter, the fecal matter, it stays in there and it produces toxins, and then you're reabsorbing those toxins. So it's just a cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I know for sure my kid, when he's constipated, he goes crazy as well. It affects your mental health as
it
well.
does.
Puts
Yes.
pressure on your pelvic floor muscles. It's all related, gut and brain and
Hmm.
mental health. And of course, exercising is the best antidepressant. But
Yeah.
people just starting to discover that, which is very exciting. And I wanted to talk about fragmented foods because what if someone doesn't have money for probiotic, but they have money to fragment their food? What is your best? I know Greek yogurt is your number one, right? It should be my number one because not only has the natural, probiotic in there, but it also gives you the protein that you need for your
Mhm.
muscles. But
Yeah,
your favorite.
fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
cabbage is very cheap. Cabbage, you can keep in the fridge for a long time. You can make your own sauerkraut. Just add salt and water and just put it into a jar. You don't have to seal it 100%. You can put like let it loose a little bit so that the gas comes out, but it's so easy to do. Beets are the same. You can put salt and water with beets, leave the peel, especially organic, try to get organic. And there's natural bacteria in the cabbage and the beets that then ferment, and you just drink the brine. You can eat and it has prebiotics. So it actually has the right fibers and sugars to feed the good bacteria. So that's fantastic. You don't have to go there and get capsules. Some people are more allergic, they have high histamine, they don't want to get fermentation or yeast, so they decide to let's, get some capsules. But in general, yeah, having a variety of fermented foods really is great for that diversity.
Yeah, and are you like a kimchi fanatic? Do
I
you?
do once in a while. I like miso. Miso is wonderful. Those are the ones that I have at home. I have miso. I recently tried natto. Have you tried that? It's like fermented soybeans and then it has like a cheesy texture.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's not bad. I don't think I would go that often. But sauerkraut is one of my favorites. I love
Yeah,
having it with salad, with meats. It's so easy and it keeps so long in the fridge.
yeah.
So very, budget friendly.
Nice little crunchy effect to it. This is nice. A little
Yeah.
vinegary. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? And last question for you. What do you think about I like kimchi because of the spices, like the
Mm.
strong garlic and the extra hot pepper.
Yeah.
How is this affecting your gut? Because I know I pay for it the next day. So since
Well,
we're going there, let's go.
exactly. Let's that's the thing is that again, we talk about inflammation. If you are having already sensitivity, I would not promote spicy food because it's just going to cause more sensitivity. So I mean, they sell kimchi now that's not spicy. They actually sell it with other things, even with carrots, and they've kind of modified. Now there's so many flavors, but kimchi, with the Korean population, they're used to it and they probably have adopted that. But honestly, I think if you have a very sensitive gut, it's just yogurt, maybe non-dairy if you're sensitive to dairy. Coconut yogurt will be a good way to do that. Kefir, coconut kefir,
Mhm.
but I would stay away from spicy foods.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I do feel sometimes I regret that decision the next day, but it's
Yeah, this is why I like sauerkraut and miso. They're both not spicy, not hot spicy, and
yeah,
it's salty. It's more salty. I just like savory flavors, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that works for me. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. In module 4, I believe we talk about gut health and we talk about introducing it gradually, and that's exactly what I was thinking about when you said kimchi. So, you can test it. If it's just 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon,
Yeah.
the next day, see how you feel, and then you gradually add more. And I would recommend 3 different types of fermented foods in a week span. So let's say today or even in a day if you can tolerate it, like today I could have apple cider vinegar. That's a fermented food. I could have tamari, which has healthy bacteria, and then I could have some Greek yogurt, and then tomorrow I'll have sauerkraut and maybe like coconut yogurt, and then the next day I could have a little bit of kimchi or miso. Like you kind of add that diversity in there.
Yeah, I love it. So, okay, apple cider vinegar. I put it in my lettuce salad
Yeah, perfect.
quite a lot, and then
Yeah.
it does give that big kick. That's enough? You think that's enough? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, as much as you can, integrate it into dips. You can integrate it into salad dressings and even the dips like hummus. Some people actually put sauerkraut in the hummus. They blend it with it.
oh,
So it has that salty kind of, it's like thicker. It has a lot of texture. So
wow.
definitely add various things. And even like, yogurt we add to smoothies, right? That's another way to add some fermented food into.
Fiber, yeah, raspberries and berries. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Exactly.
This
And
is
you touched on
amazing.
something interesting, what has to do with mental health. Someone who has prolapse, for example, or has incontinence and having trouble controlling their pelvic floor muscles, they could become withdrawn from society because they're just embarrassed about it. And I actually had a firsthand experience with that with one of my relatives. And she was such a social butterfly. She always organized parties. She always liked to go out. But when she started getting into that and she was on the wait list to do the surgery for prolapse, she didn't want to go out and see anybody. She didn't want to be part of family gatherings. So there's a huge loss in that sense. So you really want to prevent that as much as possible. Even if you don't have any leaking when you're sneezing or laughing or jumping right now, it's still a good time to strengthen that area. You don't want to wait until it happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take care of your gut and your pelvic health. And it's not just to fix a discomfort when it comes, you want to prevent it. You want to have that quality of life with your loved ones. And what a shame for this lady. She missed out on her party time just because she had the symptoms and she didn't know how to take care of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So I think that it's great you're offering all these tools. You're offering very simple, gentle exercises I can implement, like just minutes a day, right? A couple of minutes in the morning, a couple of minutes, and even just being aware the way you sit, the way you hold your core muscles. So you can implement that with mindfulness throughout the day, and it doesn't take time. It's not
No,
extra time.
no, it just needs to become like a habit. It needs to be like you brush your teeth, you take a moment to remember how you're breathing and how you compose yourself. Your posture is important as well. We're gonna go on that on another video. But for now, we want you to know that you can have this program for 50% off. It's only for today. We may push it to Cyber Monday. We're not sure. We're gonna figure it out between us. But all you have to do is go to the link below. It's a direct link to the program. And there's two packages, right? That we have package A, where you can go on your own pace. It's pre-recorded. Everything is pre-recorded and you decide where you engage. And package two includes privates. So you get two privates with me and two sessions with Cindy, which are covered by the Canadian health insurance. So we give you receipts so you can claim your money back. So basically half of that package is probably paid for, or a third. Yeah, it's probably paid from the insurance. And for this package, it means it's going to be tailored for your body needs. We go through your lifestyle and we help you reset bad habits. And this is actually a unique opportunity for you to get that one-on-one and our attention so that we can really scrutinize the areas that you probably don't even aware that they need adjustments. So yeah, and Cindy has
Yes.
numerous lab tests. You can check your sensitivities. What is it? That the hair test, the DNA test, and she has all these labs that you can do wherever you're in the world, right? You don't need to
Yes.
be limited in our region. So this is why this program is wonderful. It's for everybody.
And
So
with both programs, you get access to a Facebook group, private group. We
yeah,
have Q&A sessions in there. You can ask your questions, you can share your progress. And also with the option B, the second one with the privates, I also monitor your food journal for 3 months during that time. So you can enter your food. I can go in and I can interact with you there to say, the portion, or, I can encourage you if you're on the right track, or I can just make some modifications and suggestions in the food journal for you. So that's a great way to have that sort of one-on-one support.
yeah, yeah. And a couple of you have come to us with these questions which are quite common. So one of them is like, what is the small change that you can do today? And for me, my ABCs, the first thing will be alignment, your posture. Check your posture. So that will be a small change that you can start doing today, which means when you are slouching, basically your ribs are pressing down, you limiting your breathing, your oxygen level, and then you pressing organs that are going down into your pelvic floor muscles and they're adding extra tension and pressure. So if you want to start seeing some improvement, start with opening your chest and be aware of your posture, how you seated, are you slouching also your pelvis and your upper body. So little things like that, they will start making a huge difference. And what's the other question? Cindy?
And for me, if it's something you want to do to reduce the bloating, it's to support your digestion. Sip on a little bit of apple cider vinegar during your meal with a little bit of water to dilute it. Maybe sip on some lemon with water during your meal, just to support the stomach acid. And don't eat much after your dinner. In fact, don't eat at all if possible. Just have some herbal tea. Just let your body digest the food. It's going to stay there. Hopefully, finish before you go to bed. Because if you have a lot of food in your stomach while you're sleeping, you're going to get bloated. You're going to get lose energy as well. You're going to get wake up tired and probably puffy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I always tend to, if I manage to overeat and I'm like, what have I done? I go for a walk. And this kind of gets everything
Yes, moves
moving
it
and
out. Yeah, and
de-bloating.
also balances your blood sugar because you're not just spiking your blood sugar while not moving. You're able to expend that. So that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
And how long, this is a very popular question. Everybody wants to know, how long does it take before I can get to see results? For me, it's really depending on your discipline. It really depends on how dedicated you are. So it's really what work you put in, the seeds you throw, you're gonna grow the fruit. So if you are repeatedly doing every day 10 minutes of pelvic floor exercises, probably in 3 weeks, you're gonna start to feel different. You're gonna start to see the difference. So it's really up to you how fast you want to do to have results. The performance, how much you consciously thinking about it, and you can do these exercises, some of them while you are at the office working. So it's not like I need to stop everything I'm doing. Oh my God! And then nobody needs to know. You can just type an email at the office and you're working. You're working abs. You're working with
Yeah.
your breath. So that's how long it probably takes when you're dedicated. 3 weeks is a good time duration to see some changes. What about you, Cindy?
Yeah, I agree that it really depends on how disciplined you are and your symptoms, like how severe your prolapse or how weak your muscles are. But you should feel the difference, when it comes to the bloating and when it comes to discomfort, if you start eliminating the sources of sensitivity or irritation. When you start to eliminate the irritation, it's going to allow your body to heal. We actually focus on relaxation, like you had said earlier, which is module 5. And in that module, I talk about a lot of calming foods, calming for your body, for your mind, and helping you to sleep. So when you can get better rest, your body can actually heal better, detox better. So within a few weeks, you should notice a difference. And we're there in the Facebook group to guide you, depending on the level of progress that you're making.
Yes, yes, I love it. So, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. Let's break the silence around health, gut health, and pelvic health, because this way we can empower more women to control their well-being, control the pelvic floor muscles, and really have a top quality of life. That it doesn't mean you have to live with discomfort because we're aging. It doesn't mean that you can miss out having fun with your grandkids. So there is ways around it. And we hope to see you in our reset program, right?
Yes, thank you so much for this conversation. I think it's great that we're creating more and more awareness around it. And I also look forward to supporting you all and being here for any questions that you may have.
Fantastic. Any questions, you can pop them below and
That's
we're
right.
gonna
We'll check
definitely
up on that.
engage in our comments.
Yes, and we'll provide the link down on the comment section as well.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye, everyone.